somebody, yeah, that's a good idea. I used to have that in my old company. But if someone tries to say it's not mine, when I go get it, it's going to be a problem. Yeah, he still has me. My name's Matt Jarnis, the mold remediation guy for the group. And, you know, I made some notes to go over stuff. I forget a lot of the health hazards of mold, but I guess what I'm going to do today, talk a little bit about why mold can be a problem, and then talk about how we remediate it, and then talk about a special product that I use to help me remediate mold, which is chlorine dioxide, which some of you might be familiar with. But having mold in your home can lead to a variety of health problems. It's not going to cause cancer or anything like that, but it does have a lot of carcinogens in it that can cause a lot of problems to people. Respiratory issues, coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, worsening of asthma symptoms. So if you're immunocompromised or have asthma, it's not a good idea to live in a home with elevated mold levels. An increased risk of respiratory infections, allergic reactions, immune system effects with increased susceptibility to infections, worsening of chronic illnesses. So I get a lot of people that call me up and they're like, look, we moved into this house 3 months ago. We had an inspection, but we didn't do mold testing. And every day I wake up with a headache and my nose runs until I get out of the house and my eyes are watery, you know. And then I go and the attic is littered with mold and their HVAC system is out there, so it's going through the whole house, you know. And a big question, we were actually talking about it last week, you guys were talking about how not all black mold is toxic, and that's very true. There's over 10,000 different types of black mold, and there's really only like 3 types that are toxic. But there's 100,000 different types of mold. Now, even a non-toxic mold still has mycotoxins, which can cause these problems. So it almost doesn't matter what type of mold is in the house. If the levels are elevated. Now, if the levels aren't elevated, it's fine because mold is on the table that you're eating on right now, you know? So the issue is, what are the levels? Are they elevated? Is there more mold in the house than there is outside? They used to say you want to have the same type of mold inside the house as outside of the house. And if you have one that's inside the house that isn't outside, you got a problem. I disagree with that because I've done testing before remediation where there's 6 different types of mold outside. And then 4 days later, there's 3 different types of mold outside. So where did the other 2 molds go? Well, it was windy while I was taking the test, so they didn't get picked up. So those 5 molds that were outside 3 days ago are in the home because they opened up the window. So it's, you know, with the testing, it's all we have to gauge what's going on inside the home, but it's not foolproof. It's a snapshot of what's going on.
Is there some independent agency that has a list of where the threshold should be? Because a lot of times I know with my business, you can make up whatever you want.
Right.
Say, oh, well, 20 parts per million is too much, but really the EPA is saying 5,000.
Right.
There...
The cutoff is usually 1,500 spores. So if it's over 1,500 spores, then it's considered to be elevated.
In total or on one species?
In one species,
Okay.
for each species. Good question. But that can also be, if you have 300 outside and 1,500 inside, then it's elevated. But if you had 6,000 outside, so it's kind of, how much sense it makes, I don't know, you know, but this is what we're dealing with. And to be an IEP, to be the guys that go in and do the inspections and do, you know, there's no license for that, just like there's no license for doing what I do. It's a certification. I could call myself an IEP if I wanted to start today, and I could be, you know,
What is that?
It's an indoor air something.